Hello, mysterious person behind the screen. Class, episode 6. Yes, there are 6 of them now. Detained. Lighting's very 2014, isn't it? It's the same lamp I was using all them years ago. Well, 2 years ago. When I was doing those Series 8 reviews. Oh, those lovely Series 8 reviews. Anyway, yeah, class. Jeez, I forgot how bad this lighting was. I'm sorry. It's winter. Well, I say it's December because I've got Christmas decorations up, but it's winter. I can't find a better light source. That's just blinded my eye. Class, episode 6. Right. I thought this was a good episode. Thought it was possibly trying to replicate Midnight too much, and that's probably an easy thing to say, but it clearly was. I mean, it was clearly trying to have some conflict between the characters. It's designed to be a cheap episode with only one set, with only a handful of cast members, with an unseen monster that sort of is very mysterious, but that's sort of changing their behaviour. But it didn't really go that far because we didn't really see the aftermath of it, apart from it's clear they're going to have a rift between them now because Ram's angry that April doesn't love him, and she's angry at Tanya because she's young, and Tanya's angry at April because she thinks she's young, and April's angry at Ram because they're having love turmoil, and I don't know why I'm making that gesture, and Charlie and Matthias are having a bit of trouble because Matthias is afraid of Charlie, and Quill's back and she's got a free will, but yeah, it's kind of complicated, but overall I think it worked well. It's just those comparisons to Midnight are unavoidable, and Midnight is one of my all-time favourite stories. I could watch Midnight any day. I think it's so creepy, so tense. I think the acting is just phenomenal in it. And I just think it's a brilliant story. So it was always going to be a tough challenge to try and live up to that. And I don't think it really succeeds, but I still think it is a fairly good story, taking that away from that. I thought the interplay between the characters was fairly good. Although, did anyone have to put subtitles on during this episode? Because I didn't have a clue what they were saying half the time. I know that when they picked up the stone, the voices were supposed to be distorted, but I think it was too distorted because I honestly had to watch the whole episode with subtitles on, which I shouldn't have to do, and I rarely do. But I really had to, especially with Matthias. And I've never actually mentioned this before. I don't think Matthias should have been Polish, and that's not anything to do with me being racist or whatever. It's because the actor isn't Polish, and I feel like if you were going to have a Polish character, fine, have him Polish, like, cool, but cast a Polish actor, because the actor, it sometimes comes off as over the top, and I know he's trying his best. It's like, if I tried to do this whole video, this sounds Russian, if I tried to do this whole video in an accent, it would get really annoying and sometimes grating after a while. And I think it does in this, especially when he picked up the rock. I really could not understand what he was saying, and I really do not know what that bit about Nanya was about, and about Suzanne. But yeah, if anyone's Polish out there, I'm sorry. I really didn't understand what that Narnia bit was about. I know it was supposed to be a bit of a thing for Charlie, but it just seemed a bit weird. Didn't really go anywhere. The April and Ram stuff, fine. Again, I don't buy their relationship. The books add to it a little bit. I still don't buy it. I just think, although that was quite a moment when she said, "I don't love you," because it was like it had been set up, and then you sort of got the I presume it's the April and Ram theme, the da 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 da, like that little piano track that was sort of playing when Ram was sort of his confession thing. That was playing there, so it was kind of emotional, but yeah. Tanya, yeah, she was okay. Again, didn't have much to do, to be honest. she was sort of the brains again, and it was nice to see all the kids together working as their function. I know that sounds kind of harsh, but Tanya's the brains, and she was working as the brains in this episode, because she, she'd figure out everything about the stone and the rock, which, cool. She was alright. Although I really hate the dialogue there. They crammed this into the first 2 episodes and it sort of disappeared, and now they crammed it into episode 6. Is that line about the white people? It's like, cut that please. Because it's like her and April arguing. She's like, oh, you get a typical white person happy ending because your mother can walk again. And she's like, white people? What? And I really do not like that. It's really annoying. It almost, when I was watching it, I was just thinking Uncle Bryn from the Gavin and Stacey Christmas special. No, let's not turn this into a race issue. A lot of people won't know what that is. But, yes, Gavin and Stacey. Phenomenal. Not a fan of that dialogue at all. But, yeah. Let's talk about Charlie. I think he was pretty good. We saw his more vulnerable side when he was having panic attacks, and claustrophobia. I'm not claustrophobic. Does it really work? Because the classroom's actually bigger than my bedroom now. I stay in here a lot, and I know I'm not trapped in here. But anyone with claustrophobia, does that work even with such a big space as this? Because he wasn't really trapped. He wasn't in a confined space. Maybe it's just something else, another sort of not phase of claustrophobia. Another sort of what's the word? Type of claustrophobia. Maybe it's something else. Maybe I'm just being insensitive. I don't know. Please, someone with claustrophobia, please comment if that's right or not. But when he was bleeding out the eyes and nose, I just thought, oh man, that's pretty gory. It even made me search eye bleeding in Google afterwards just because I was curious. But yeah, it was really. Yeah, I noticed it seemed to disappear quite quickly though. Like I don't think we ever see him wiping it off. There's just at the end there's just a stain on his face where it has been. It seemed to disappear quite quickly. Quill, she wasn't in it. She was in it at the end though. Which wow, I'm excited for next week's because she's got her free will back and things are gonna change around here. The scar. I didn't notice about her hair at first. Her hair's longer. I only noticed it when Mateus pointed it out. I think next week could be quite unique because it's an episode taking place in the middle of events that are an episode we've just seen. It might cause a problem structurally in terms of the series because now I just want to see what happens next. Maybe you could tell that story of how she got the thing out of her head sort of later on, but I suppose it is kind of necessary, and I'm quite excited to see how it ties in as well, because every time a TV show does something like this, where one episode will take place during the events of another, I'm just thinking, somewhere across this universe now, that's happening from last week, and when I watch this week's back, I'm thinking, somewhere across this universe now, that's happening from next week, so yeah, be pretty cool. Overall, Detained was a pretty good episode, 7 out of 10, 7.5 out of 10. It's really hard to just shake that feeling of the midnight, really, because the midnight is just one of my absolute favourites, so it's really hard to sort of shake that feeling off of it, but I still think it was moderately successful with it. It's just really hard to compare the mastery of Midnight to this, because Midnight, I would give that a 10 out of 10 story. I think it's almost flawless. So that is never going to live up to this. But yeah, if you enjoyed Detained, or if you didn't enjoy Detained, comment below and like, subscribe, comment. And I've messed up my outro, and I'll see you in my next one. Take care now. I forgot my salute. I mistimed my salute. Okay, bye. I'm not with it today.